Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're breaking down an ambitious five-step blueprint for turning around a national economy. The plan was designed for Bolivia by economist Carlos A. Ibañez and Meier, and it gives us a fascinating look at what it might take to engineer a massive economic comeback.
So, before we jump into the details, let's just start with the central question here. When an entire country's economy is on the ropes, what does it actually take to turn the whole ship around? What's the playbook? The way this plan is laid out is actually really smart. It's like a medical plan. First, we get a diagnosis of what's wrong. Then, we rush to the emergency room for some financial first aid. After that, it's about rebuilding and rehab. And finally, there's a long-term vision for staying healthy. Okay, so let's get right into it. Step 1, the diagnosis. The proposal kicks off with a very honest look at where Bolivia stands, using that classic SWOT analysis, weighing its strengths and opportunities against its weaknesses and threats. And right away, you see this massive paradox at the heart of the country's situation. On one hand, you have this incredible God-given strength, its location as the heart of South America. But all that potential is being choked by huge internal weaknesses, especially an unreliable legal system. And that instability, it just scares away the investors the country desperately needs. So, with the problem identified, the plan moves straight into the emergency room. This is all about financial triage. We're talking about critical, short-term moves to stop the bleeding. A lack of foreign cash, exports are falling, and the government is spending way more money than it's bringing in. The emergency response really boils down to these 4 actions. And let's be super clear, this isn't about long-term growth. Not yet. This is about stabilizing the patient. It means calling in international help, letting the central bank do its job without political interference, shoring up the banks, and hitting the brakes on public spending hard. Now, you might be wondering, why is an independent central bank such a big deal? Well, get this. The plan points to neighboring Peru as the perfect case study. Think about it. The country went through 7 different presidents, total political chaos. But because its central bank was autonomous, it acted as a rock of stability and built up over $68 billion in reserves. That's the power of having an institution that can rise above the political noise. And to tackle that out-of-control public deficit, the plan suggests something pretty drastic: privatizing the state-owned companies that are losing money. And this number is exactly why. $2.3 billion. That's the deficit of Bolivia's public companies in a single year. The plan also calls for a complete overhaul of the pension system. The argument is that the current state-run model is a massive conflict of interest. So, the proposed fix? Copy Norway's world-famous sovereign wealth fund. And the difference is just night and day. You'd go from state control to a professional fund, from a small domestic portfolio to a global one invested in everything from Apple to Google, and from very little transparency to total transparency. All right, so the patient is stable and out of the ER. Now what? We move to phase 3, which is all about rebuilding the engine. This is the rehab phase. It's about medium-term policies designed to help the country's productive sector, the actual businesses that create jobs and make stuff, to get back on its feet. So what does that rehab look like? It's basically about giving businesses some breathing room. If you're a small business owner, imagine getting a 2-year break on loan collections, getting a chance to settle your tax debts, and making it cheaper to import the heavy machinery you need to grow. It's all designed to give companies the confidence to invest and hire again. Okay, this next part is where we shift from playing defense to playing offense. We're moving beyond just recovery. Now it's about proactively building new engines for growth, creating what the plan calls productive clusters. And you can think of these as economic locomotives that are powerful enough to pull the whole country forward. So what exactly is a cluster? It's a fantastic concept. It's not just one industry. It's the entire ecosystem that grows around it. So think about the soy industry in Santa Cruz. The success of soy didn't just enrich farmers, it fueled the growth of banks, transport companies, service providers, the whole shebang. That's a cluster. So the plan identifies 2 kinds of clusters. First, you got the high priority ones, the big opportunities that are sitting right there. Things like natural gas, lithium, and turning the Vera Vera airport into a real hub. Then, you've got the potential future engines of growth.
things like quinoa, assembly plants, and even the tech sector.
Let's just zoom in on lithium for a second because it perfectly captures Bolivia's dilemma. The potential is absolutely insane. The country's sitting on one of the world's biggest reserves, right when the world is screaming for batteries. But the challenges are just as massive. It's expensive to get out of the ground, they don't have the tech, and their neighbors, Chile and Argentina, are already way ahead in the game.
And then there's this idea of turning the Vero airport into a huge international logistics hub. To see the potential here, all you have to do is look at what it's done for other places. I mean, for Dubai, aviation contributes almost $50 billion to its economy. It just shows how a single, well-placed hub can be a total game changer. And that brings us to the final step, the grand vision that ties this entire blueprint together. This is the ultimate play. It's all about leveraging Bolivia's single greatest natural advantage, its geography, to completely change its role in South America. So what's the centerpiece of this grand vision? A railroad. But not just any railroad. We're talking about a massive infrastructure project to connect the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, with Bolivia positioned right in the very heart of it all. And this comparison makes the strategic choice here crystal clear. According to the plan, routing this trade corridor through Bolivia is a no-brainer. It uses existing railway lines and it would light up the country's agricultural and mining heartlands. The alternative? Building a new route that goes around Bolivia, leaving it on the sidelines of progress maybe forever. And it's so important to get this. The corridor wouldn't just be for stuff passing through. It would create a direct highway to global markets for everything produced in Bolivia, from soy and lithium to livestock. It's about activating the economy, not just having trains cross it.
And this quote really brings the entire argument to its powerful conclusion. The plan asserts that the main roadblock isn't a lack of resources, or location, or even infrastructure. The real problem, the missing piece, is political will.
So there you have it. From diagnosis to emergency care to long-term rehab and a grand vision for the future. The plan is on the table, the potential is clear, but it all comes down to this one final massive question. A blueprint is one thing, but can a nation actually get everyone on the same page, its politicians and its people, to build it? And that's the ultimate challenge, not just for Bolivia, but for any country that wants to achieve something truly great.